That's at 1 o'clock in the morning. Winds do taper off a little bit through lunchtime on Wednesday before they start to pick up once again Wednesday evening, and it is just going to be gusty all the way through us the moisture back to Northern California along with the winds. We can't sleep on the winds. That is going to be quite a factor over a couple of periods during the next 48 hours. So let's break it down. We'll start with the thunderstorm potential. Widespread thunderstorms are possible Wednesday afternoon and evening, then once again early on Thursday morning before sunrise. Heavy rain, small hail, and like I'd said a minute ago, some tornadoes also possible. Again, nothing crazy. These are the tornadoes that we are used to seeing here in Northern California, right? Where it's kind of just a brief spin up, little bit of a funnel. Maybe it touches the ground for a minute. We're not talking Great Plains tornadoes, nothing like that. But still, this is something you need to be ready for, and you don't want your phone off, right? You want to stay weather aware. The wind, this is going to be a big one for all of us. The worst winds beginning tonight, and then a brief pause. They'll pick up again tomorrow evening and continue through Thursday morning. Widespread gusts 35 to 45 miles per hour, but the strongest valley gusts could be close to 60 miles per hour. And of course, the snow. Snow level started about 6,000 feet on Wednesday. Then they're down to about 5,000 feet by the end of Thursday. 3 to 6 feet of snow on the way for the high passes. Winter storm warning begins tonight at 10 o'clock, continues until 10 p.m. on Friday. Flood watch across Northern California until 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. And this high wind warning in the valley, this was the high wind watch at this time yesterday. That's been upgraded to a warning. High wind warning in effect now through later this week. 60 in Sacramento at the moment, 60 in Stockton, 61 Modesto, 52 in Placerville, 40s up in the high country. The story, though, is not temperatures. We're expecting wind, we're expecting rain. No rain at the moment, and the wind starting to pick up, especially down through the San Joaquin Valley, but it's not quite up here across the Sacramento region just yet. It is certainly there along the coast and in the high country, though. 60 as we look towards downtown Sacramento, similar to this time yesterday, and again, those winds just about 5 miles per hour, but the strongest winds still to come. It'll be overnight tonight when we see those gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour. Tomorrow afternoon, temperature's going to be in those upper 50s, but remember, that story is more about the thunderstorms that will be developing later in the afternoon into the evening hours. Snow through most of the day tomorrow and for most of Christmas Day as well. Level 1 marginal risk for severe weather. That means some strong to severe storms are possible in the valley for Christmas Eve. Still some thunderstorm potential on Christmas Day, but the better chances for severe weather are going to be out in the Bay Area. So keep that in mind if you're going to be out there for the holiday. As we look at Futurecast, that rain and snow coming back headed into the overnight hours. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. Heavy rain and snow in the high country through the early morning hours and really all day tomorrow. Although around lunchtime, we may get a little bit of a drying period here in the valley. And if we can get a little bit of sunshine during this time, that will elevate that severe weather potential. This model here is the HRRR, the HRRR. This one's better for showing that convection, that thunderstorm development than some of the other models that we sometimes look at. So this one is doing a very good job of picking up on that pop-up thunderstorm potential as early as about 3-4 o'clock. But it gets better as we go through the evening hours with more widespread thunderstorm opportunities. And during this entire period, we're going to have heavy snow up in the high country. So this is through Wednesday evening. Now, early Thursday morning, we still see those pop-up showers and thunderstorms, not just in the valley, but also out through the coastal range and out along the coast. This is now 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, and we've got some very heavy rain and some thunderstorms in the valley. So this is why you want to stay weather aware. You don't want to tune out for the holiday. You want to make sure you're continuing to keep apprised of the forecast here. Excuse me, I was going to say temperatures. Model snowfall is going to be in the 20 to 40 inch range for a lot of the high country, but at the passes, at the very high elevations of, for instance, US 50, we could be closer to 50 inches. So anywhere from 3 to 6 feet of snow is on the way. Some of the models closer to 6 feet, some of the models look closer to 4 to 5 feet, but nonetheless, lots of snow. Definitely going to see chain controls. These are the winds now. We can't overlook the winds. 40-mile-an-hour gusts across the valley as we go through the overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. We're still seeing those strong gusts. They taper a little bit through lunchtime on Wednesday and into the early afternoon before they start to pick up once again. This is now 1 o'clock in the morning on Christmas, and we're seeing those widespread 40-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts again. And really all day Thursday is just going to be gusty, but the very strongest winds are going to be earlier in the day on Christmas. So weather impact alert now through Friday. Thunderstorms, wind, and heavy snow. Stay weather aware and be ready for the power outages. With all the rain and the wind, that could take down some trees, could take down some power lines as well. So make sure, again, that you're just staying weather aware. Weather impact alert through Friday. Temperatures remain in the 50s, but it's all about the wind, the rain, and the snow.
Yeah, just have to get those through those 3 days.
Yeah.
Right.
And it gets better by the weekend, but this is really going to be a 48-hour period here where you got to stay locked in between the thunder and the wind and the power outage potential. There's just a lot going on.
Especially for the Sierra, they can certainly use this.
Oh yeah, this snow is going to be beneficial, but it is going to be extremely difficult to travel through.
All right, thank you, Brendan.
Yep.
Appreciate it. And tonight, a major cleanup is underway across Sacramento as residents brace for severe weather. The city of Sacramento and SMUD says it is all hands on deck. Crews making their rounds right now and standing by in case power outages hit. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has more.
Garge Paul, this is truly the calm before the storm, and the city of Sacramento, as well as other cleanup companies like the one you see here behind me in Midtown, they're taking advantage of this time to clean up the piles of leaves that could lead to flooding and eventually damage to your home. Anywhere you go in Sacramento, the sight of piled up leaves and tree branches in the city of trees is hard to miss.
Basically just trying to pick up everything we can and just put it out in the street, because now they can pick it up instead of having to put it all in the waste bins.
We found this East Sacramento resident helping rake up the leaves at his mother's home ahead of strong winds and the rain rolling in. He says the city of Sacramento has its claw crew come by once a month to help with the leaves.
Well, right now we have our regular claw crews out working. They're doing their rounds. Just systematically, they go through whether it's a storm or not. They're removing those leaves from the streets.
On Tuesday, we found a different cleaning crew making its way through Midtown. But the city says residents have to do their part to prevent localized flooding.
If you see any localized flooding, you see a sewer drain kind of backing up, you can always call 311. That's a great thing to do to get somebody to come out and help unplug that drain.
This also means filling up your own green waste bin with debris from your yard.
Usually floods on this street when it rains heavily, so we have to keep the gutters open and the water flowing. Otherwise, we've had the water come up to like our steps a few times when it rained pretty badly.
He also says he and his neighbor had their trees trimmed this past year in order to prevent any large branches from damaging their property. SMUD also says its teams are closely monitoring the storm system at the ready to restore power to its customers.
At SMUD, we prepare a year round for storm season. Our vegetation management crews maintain equipment throughout the year, as well as trim branches and trees around our power lines to prepare for storm season.
Sofia Gutierrez says customers should already have information at the tips of their fingers on how to prepare by visiting their website.
Storms are unpredictable, and so we urge our customers to be ready. So having their cell phones fully charged, having extra battery packs, flashlights, blankets, water, and some food at the ready in case they do experience an outage.
The spokesperson with SMUD also says they know this is a time of year when families keep their refrigerators full of food to cook for the holidays. They say that if there is an outage, the best thing to do is to keep that refrigerator closed for long periods of time. And if there is a prolonged outage, they say they will work with customers on a case-by-case basis. In Midtown, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
All right, thank you, Roxanne. Now an update to a flooding concern surrounding the Yuba River in Placer County. Deputies continue to closely monitor the river in the Cisco Grove area, where a family had to be rescued after the river levels quickly rose. But water has receded from the home. Additional rain and snow are in the forecast tonight through Friday. Deputies say out of abundance of caution, the evacuation warning remains in effect. Meanwhile, Shasta County has declared a state of emergency after massive flooding over the weekend left at least one person dead. Nearly a month worth of rain fell in Redding in just a matter of days, and more is on the way. An atmospheric river is expected to bring additional downpours across California this week. Evacuation warnings go into effect Tuesday for areas with recent burn scars as officials brace for the risk of mudslides. Emergency declaration will bring additional resources and support. And some counties in our area have opened sandbag locations to help residents prepare for storm conditions, including Sacramento, Placer, and Yuba counties. Sites including County Branch Center, Orangeville Community Center, Sacramento Metropolitan Fire Stations, and Placer County Fire Station 180. A full list of the open sandbag locations is available right now on the ABC10.com. And to track the latest on this storm and the weather impact alert, including area conditions and road impacts, go to the free ABC10 app on your TV and phone. And Sacramento County health officials have confirmed the first influenza-related death of the season, and the patient is a child. Health officials say the child had no underlying medical conditions and died from complications of the flu. The Sacramento County Department of Health Services warns people while most people recover from the flu within days, young children, older adults, pregnant people, and those with chronic health conditions face a higher risk of serious complications, including pneumonia and death. Health officials urging families to take flu conditions seriously and seek medical care if symptoms worsen, and they ask to take precautions like washing your hands, especially during the holiday season. And a man labeled sexually violent predator is set to be released from state custody, but officials have not yet identified where he will actually live. We have been following the case with William Stevenson. Back in July of 2023, a judge approved a conditional transient release in Placer County and directed the Department of State Hospitals to find housing. The decision sparked significant public outcry, and so far, no housing location has been identified. DSH is expected to send a formal notice recommending a residence at a later date. The Placer County District Attorney's Office says it will share that information once it becomes available. ABC10 has reached out to DSH for comment, but we're waiting to hear back. And Governor Gavin Newsom announcing that he will redeploy a crime suppression team to Stockton. The governor's office says a dedicated CHP team will be deployed to help reduce crime across California. The team will work alongside local law enforcement, targeting high crime areas with a focus on repeat offenders and seizure of illegal guns and drugs. The announcement comes in the wake of the recent mass shooting in Stockton that left 4 people dead and 13 others injured, including several children. Governor Gavin Newsom saying, quote, every Californian deserves to feel safer in their communities. Earlier this year, the governor announced regional partnership between state and local law enforcement agencies in several parts of the state. And we have reached out to the Stockton mayor and the police department, but we're waiting to hear back. And with that, the goal to keep Stockton residents safe, city leaders today celebrating as they cut the ribbon on a new police substation in the Sierra Vista area. Leaders say they hope this new substation will lead to safer communities.
As we all know, when you see an officer, it's an automatic deterrent from somebody who wants to do something bad in our community. And by having that presence here, hopefully people realize that that is not an option. That here in Sierra Vista, all of our children, all of our families deserve a safe home, a safe place to live, a safe place to just walk down the streets.
And coming up at 5:30, the Department of Justice releases thousands more pictures and documents from the Epstein files, while the department is still under scrutiny. And welcome back. Today, the Department of Justice releasing even more photos, videos, and documents from the Epstein files. As ABC's Rena Roy reports, this release comes after mounting pressure from lawmakers and urging the DOJ to make all of the documents public.
The Department of Justice on the defense after releasing more of the Jeffrey Epstein files early Tuesday morning. DOJ officials saying in a statement that some of the latest documents in this batch contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. The DOJ did not specify which documents it's referring to.
Why pre-deny on behalf of a person who is not formally speaking your client? Why comment on the truth or untruth of specific allegations without identifying which allegations, unless you're really representing the man and not the country? The job of the Department of Justice is to represent the United States of America in court and in legal matters. It is not to represent the personal interests of the president.
At least one email referenced Donald Trump sent from a federal prosecutor to unknown recipients, flagging that flight records from the 90s reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. Those documents later became public during Maxwell's 2021 trial. Trump and Epstein had a decades-long friendship, but Trump says they had a falling out in the early 2000s after he says Epstein stole Mar-a-Lago employees. This email also released that was sent the day after Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019 on charges of sex trafficking minors. An unidentified person at the New York FBI field office already in pursuit of potential collaborators writing, "When you get a chance, can you give me an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators?" In a July memo, the DOJ stated flatly there was not enough evidence to warrant prosecuting any uncharged third parties. Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person to ever be charged as an Epstein co-conspirator. She's serving a 20-year prison sentence after being convicted of sex trafficking minors. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York. And if you're planning to travel this holiday season, beware. Experts say being in crowded places like airports or celebrating with others indoors can increase your risk of being exposed to respiratory viruses. Health experts say during winter months, we have to watch out for viruses like COVID-19, flu, and RSV. And then there's the GI bugs like norovirus. So what can you do to stay safe? Experts say avoid touching your face, washing your hands frequently to protect yourselves, and making sure you're up to date on your vaccinations. And if you're traveling by airplane or other public transportation, wear a mask can help decrease that risk. And hundreds of people lining up in Modesto today to get help and hope
just days before Christmas. The Modesto Gospel Mission held its annual Christmas at the Mission event. People began lining up as early as 4 a.m. Organizers serving more than 3,000 people today, providing a traditional Christmas meal and gifts and a coat giveaway. More than 100 volunteers working throughout the day to make it happen.
Because we realize that it is difficult this year when it comes to people's personal economy. So the dollar's not stretching as far as it used to. So some families are looking to either feed their families or get them Christmas presents. Well, we're hoping to shorten that list by getting them a good meal and a good Christmas present.
And this event was made possible through the community donations. And we'll be back right after this. And when you think of cities with iconic Christmas tree, Rockefeller Center in New York City may come to mind, or Washington, D.C. But which city lays claim to having the tallest fresh-cut Christmas tree this season? Citadel Outlets and Commerce in SoCal claims to have the tallest fresh-cut tree this holiday season. The tree is from the North State and went on a 15-hour road trip just to get to its new home, which is southeast of downtown Los Angeles. And thank you for joining us. And we will have more news, weather, and sports on the 6 o'clock news. And remember, you can watch us anytime, any day on your schedule by downloading the free ABC10 app and to your TV. And we will leave you with a live look at I-80 near Donner Summit. And we will have much more on the weather impact alert coming up at 6. And good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Garch Paul Sunga. Thank you for joining us for ABC 10 News at 6. And we begin tonight with the weather impact alert. Let's go and take you outside with a live look at the conditions many are traveling in. On one side, you will see Highway 50 in downtown Sacramento. On the other, you will see Interstate 80 near Donner Lake. And right now, most of that snow from yesterday has already melted, but those conditions could rapidly change. And on standby right now is meteorologist Brendan Minchef, just breaking everything down for us as this storm really ramps up, Brendan.
Yeah, it is the calm between storms. Don't let this break, catch you off guard, because we are still tracking a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of snow, and thunderstorms in the valley as well. So as we look at satellite, you can kind of see that atmospheric river has been away for a little bit, but it's starting to push back. We got a low pressure dropping in off the coast. It's going to bring all that rain and that moisture back into Northern California, but with that colder air, so we are going to see those lower snow levels. Right now, that rain still up north of Cape Mendocino. There's not really much pushing inland yet, but over the next several hours, especially by the time we get closer to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, that's when we're going to start to see that rain returning to Northern California. But we're also going to be watching for the winds. Temperatures right now about 60 degrees across much of the valley. The story's not about the temps, though. It's about the rain, the snow, and the wind. It's starting to pick up in the San Joaquin Valley. It already is very gusty up across the passes